For expert analysis, I want to take you to Richard Roth. He's back. He's a Democratic strategist and also founder of the partner of the Roth law firm. Jennifer Kern's joining us. She's a contributor for the Daily Caller and the Hill. Guys, thank you both for joining us. Richard, I'm going to start with you here. We just heard from Emerald on everything that the administration is doing to combat the coronavirus. A lot going on, aid being brought up there in the Senate to be voted on as well. How are they responding? What's your take on this?
They're doing right now as best they can. This has hit everyone totally from literally left field, I guess China field. Obviously, we've had a lot of problems historically with the administration in dealing with this, but I think they're playing catch up and they're doing it as best as possible. There still is not enough testing. They still, for the CDC to say that we want to limit the gathering to 50 people, it's still a lot of people. So they are doing what they can. We are going to eventually probably lead into a total shutdown. Italy, Spain, Germany, literally there's grocery stores and drugstores open and that's it. That may be the path in which we go. But we are now finally taking steps to minimize the damage this could have to hospitals, medical facilities, and what have you.
You go ahead and you answer that phone call there, Richard. Jennifer, I'm going to get your take real quick on this. Federal Reserve cut interest rates nearly to 0%. It did not quell the fears on the stock market there, taking a huge hit this morning. Where do we go from here? How do we take some kind of information like that? And most importantly, how do we associate this with the administration's response?
Well, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, I think, has been one of the best spokespersons on this. And he has said it may take 7 or 8 different approaches in this. There's going to be more than one way to skin the cat, so to speak. And so I think you're going to see the Treasury Secretary coming back at this with a couple of different angles. There might be more than one aid bill. I think that'll give the markets some relief. But I think just as in the pandemic is going to get worse before it gets better, I think the same will be true of the markets. But look, I think after a slow launch out of the gate on this coronavirus pandemic, I do think the administration now understands the severity of it. And look, from a political standpoint, you know, a lot of Democrats are saying, well, this is going to cost him the election come November. And we look at things through a political kaleidoscope when we look at pandemics and other government crises. And that's actually not the case. President Trump has a long runway here between now and November that I think he'll have time to sort of recover from any political hit he takes from this. But here's where I'm concerned. I'm concerned about some of the down ticket races. Because the White House was slow to respond the last 2 or 3 weeks, it left a vacuum of leadership where the Democratic governors of this country really stepped in and took charge. Those are New York Governor Cuomo. You saw California Governor Gavin Newsom, a guy I know quite well. I know his disaster response team quite well. Great Republicans and Democrats doing great work out there. And others like Jay Inslee of Washington. Those are Democratic governors who really stepped into the leadership vacuum that the White House created. Those are Democrat governor associations, DGA, TV ads in the making. Those write themselves. When the White House was nowhere to be found, your Democrat governor stepped into the void. And that's going to be something I watch as a political scientist going into November.
Richard, bring you in really quick. Health crisis aside here, political landscape here. Trump's battle to November, Democrats' battle to November. How does this play out with everything that's happening?
It's going to hurt. This is going to seriously hurt because the bottom line is that Donald Trump failed to address this problem since his election. Since his election, he's done nothing to increase the science and the medical profession in connection with the health crisis. It's going to hurt. Right now, the base is saying, if this is a guy that's handling crises for me, do I want him to do it for another 4 years? That being said, the next 2 weeks are very critical. Will it go up, and how much will it go up? If it goes up hundreds and thousands a day, it's really bad. If it goes up in the dozens a day, it's not that bad. Trump has taken this too lightly, and now he's playing catch up. And I think at the end of the day, this is going to hurt him because he has people on the other side of the aisle, namely Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, who are all about health, health, health.
Right.
This is not about the Dow. This is about the health crisis.
Jen, last comment.
Well, look, I think if Donald Trump had a formidable opponent, that would be true. But really, you look at Joe Biden on a day-to-day basis, is not quite sure what state he's in. Bernie Sanders looks to the government for every health solution there is. Look, imagine this healthcare crisis on the Green New Deal Imagine ventilators having to work on green energy alone. There's no country in the industrialized world that has more than 25% of their energy that's green. And so trucks are going to have to roll. That takes fossil fuels. You look at the solutions on the left, they're so far to the left, they're just not realistic. And so Americans are going to have to say, you know, maybe President Trump stumbled out of the gate here, but imagine the problem would be far worse if you have things like the Green Deal and the far left policies of the Democratic Party today.
Each day, though, we'll take it day by day as we get through this health crisis together. That is Richard Roth, Democratic strategist and founder and partner of the Roth law firm. Jennifer Kearns, contributor for the Daily Caller and the Hill. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe out there.